Bro, are you still risking 1% or whatever the case on your 50k account? It doesn't matter if you have 150 or 150s. Exactly, brother. See, you know, Lord Farg. Lord Farg knows. That's simple. That's simple maths. You know, that's like nursery shit. Okay, so Milo, if we have a bullish bias, isn't the 3 a.m. considered a shift paired with the gap? No. What is the issue with that? What do you see, brother, about that shift? There is two major issues on both assets. So mine's has come straight in. You know, invalidation high. We took a 5-minute swing. So if you go on the 5, kaboom. We take a 5-minute swing. Right? That's completely invalid. We took two 5-minute swings. A blind dead man with no eyes could see that was invalid. So we took a 5-minute swing high 2 times. And ES took equal highs. Okay? And at the time, our bias wasn't even bullish. It was neutral. So, and then the 5-minute, closed at 3 a.m. So this here, or at 3:05, around there, that's when the 5 got inversed. So at this point it was neutral, and then if the 5 already got inversed, then it's bullish. That's simple stuff. That's simple stuff. Hopefully that makes sense. I didn't get the part about passing evaluations in 1 to 2 days. It's not a problem, brother. Yeah, don't worry about that. We did it yesterday. In CPI, we passed the counts. Everyone was there. And about passing it in 2 days guaranteed. I've got you covered. There'll be a specific dedicated channel in the Discord by the end of today for you to work off and guarantee yourself funding in 2 days. Guaranteed. Okay. So yeah, it's all good, brother. You know, the normal questions that most people are going to want to ask, I've already created a channel for it. So risk management. No one ever asked me how much to risk on a 50k again, because that's why we've, got dedicated channels. So when you actually look through this Discord, a lot of the information, a lot of the questions already answered, and then other questions, generic questions, and that's very good. How was the shisha? So it wasn't a club. The shisha place was more of a chill spot. They just played loud music, so I was just sat on a sofa basically. So yeah, I sat on a sofa, had some watermelon and a grape shisha, and that was basically it. And then after that, you guys already know, we went to the Turkish restaurant. I had 2 Turkish teas, 2 kebabs. Well, not kebabs. I had a wrap. So it was a lamb wrap. And that's it. We was out, Went back. Nothing crazy. How would you go about determining 15-minute bias? ES tapped unfilled 15. Okay, so let's take a look. So you're saying that ES tapped an unfilled 15, which is correct, which would form a bearish bias on NQ, right? But the bias immediately, if NQ is, that's a good question. So NQ is not trading in the bearish gap and the bullish gap at the same time, so it wouldn't be neutral. And yes, if you didn't have a bias, or let's say you had a bias, but because we're trading in the gap right now, so we're in the bullish gap, it is going to be bullish regardless, and it's still going to remain bullish on the 15. Now, If we're trading in the bearish gap, bullish gap, that'll be neutral. But it's a good question. Let's say we was, usually what happens, right? You'd trade from a bullish gap and you'd be above it. And then if ES then taps an unfilled 15 bearish, then it would cause a bearish bias. But because we're actually in the gap right now, it doesn't form. Yeah. I don't think anyone's asked that question before. That was a good one. We have PPI today. Let me have a look at Forex Factory, see what happened to the Mr. Trump yesterday. What did he have to get off his chest? Did he get anything big? We still woke up in a world, so I assume he didn't bomb anyone. Yeah, we got 8:30 red folder news. What's my opinion about that? Well, it's just going to come out, so it's red folder news. We might get a bit of data highs, data lows. That's it. That's all it is. It's a nice sweep of minor sell side. End of macro. We're going to wait for the second London macro. Okay. There was 100 billion to Israel yesterday, yeah, most likely. A few oil tankers, yeah. I mean, let's take a look for ourselves, So we go to the London. You can see Jex has risen from the dead in New York. It's currently 3 AM for him, and he's up. He's not playing around. He made 15k yesterday on funded accounts, So this is the PM session yesterday, right? Sweep of minor buy side. Shift in structure. Inverse order block. IV. Actually taps the gap and it runs for a 2R. So whether the bias was bearish and also the state of ES as well, so that's very important. So if you look at ES, there's no gap on ES, so that's a failed shift. We have this second shift which takes the invalidation low, so there'll be no trade in the PM regardless. That's the end of PM macro, my bad. So that's me going absolutely insane. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, so if you pull this over, this move for price, which was inside of the macro, this took invalidation low. This was a failed shift. This was a second move. Swept sell side, you'd look for longs. Price didn't form a shift higher in structure. Failed shift. Attempted to shift. Second failed shift. Sell stops. Failed shift. Sell stops. Failed shift. Failed shift. And then that's it. That's the end of the macro. So there wouldn't be any actual trades in the PM yesterday. $180 days for that tax residency to be removed. But just ask ChatGPT, so say, how can I not be a tax resident of my own country, and my country is this, because obviously everyone's from different places. For the UK, it's 180 days. For the US, it's like 180 days. If you're in the country longer than 180 days, you're a tax resident. If you're not, then yeah. Once you are not a tax resident, you got a new tax number. No, you're still a US citizen. you're still Spanish. You're not going to become Mexican. Like, if you're Spanish, you're Spanish If you're from the UK, I'm still a UK citizen, you know. I'm just not liable for taxes in the UK. But I tell you what, HMRC, they ain't playing around. So those of you that are getting fucked on taxes, HMRC, I don't know about the IRS, but HMRC's not playing around. They've got a lot of different rules now, which if you don't pay tax or you don't comply, they now have the authority to freeze your bank account and take the money out themselves. Bet you didn't know that. That's the UK for you. What happened to my screen? Right, should be good now. You should be able to hear me. But yeah, basically, is it good? Yeah, you can see my screen. Audio's good. Yeah. Alright, cool. Can you hear me now? I think someone keeps disconnecting me from, or Discord just keeps like automatically disconnecting me. It's weird. Can hear now. Yeah. Alright, cool. So let me share my screen. Yeah, Discord kept, you know, disconnecting me or something. It was weird. But yeah, basically what we was talking about was about the... Yeah. We was talking about the tax, right? What I was saying is that HMRC in the UK, they now have the authority, if you don't pay and comply with tax, they can now freeze your bank account and take the money out themselves. I bet you didn't know that. Hi, it's my first day here. Nice to meet you guys. Hello, brother. What country are you a tax citizen of? I'm not. Let me have a look at this certificates channel. I haven't even clicked on it yet. Okay, so we've got loads of accounts here. Everyone's uploaded their certificates. Lovely. I mean, you'll never see a Discord like this where you get so many people passing accounts and getting paid and all the results and people making actual money that goes in the fucking bank. But I'll tell you what, you know, as well as we have winning positions, we have losing positions. I mean, who cares about fact if we make money or we lose money, you know? It's all about the thought process every single time and managing risk on your account. But yesterday was monumental. You're right. Yeah, it was a record-breaking day. Obviously, our market research, our business research, our hard work did actually, you know, it paid off, and we got a position in London and in New York, and obviously more to come. Seems there are not much female traders here. Well, to be honest, I will probably put the reason for that. I don't think many females like the way that I talk. But we are very open to, you know, female traders. We actually do have a couple in here. And they join later on in the New York session. Yeah, they join later in the New York session. But yeah, not many females are probably attracted to the way that I speak. And a lot of females don't really do trading. I don't think... I'm not going to be sexist, but I don't think a lot of females work. They work like normal jobs, you know? They don't really go outside of the box. But that's a topic, that's a hot topic. Let's not go too far. I mean, if you only got to look at business and who the billionaires are, and there's not many which are women, and the women who really do strive for greatness. That's amazing. It is, yeah. Dre, I'm a woman. Yeah. One girl requested 40k payout in the Discord. Yeah, that's correct, yeah. I think she is probably in the stream, or after yesterday. I think she's clocked out. Trans-Zionist, mate. Jokes. Actually, I will tell you the actual specific reason on why there isn't that many females in this group. It's probably not because of the answers. It's actually because the people who see my content on social media, right? I actually looked at the statistics. You can see it as a percentage. I think it's like 3% women and 97% men. Which sounds pretty gay. But yeah, that's basically... It's quite heavily viewed. Yeah. Matter of fact, the biggest amount of viewers actually... Well, let me check this. Let me check. Let's have a look. I can see this on Instagram, so... Let's have a look. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, females usually don't like trading. I mean, it's a very stressful job. You also have to think as well, like, you know, biologically, females in a high stress environment, especially like trading, biologically, most females, obviously there's different, you know, we're not going to categorize all of them, but they don't operate as well as a man in a high stress environment, you know. It's not a physical job, but it's mentally. But anyway, I don't want to. Yeah, let's put that to the side. Okay, so let's go on to followers. Okay, so where are they from? Countries. The #1 country that follows me on Instagram is... Someone put it in the chat. Someone put it in the chat. Let's get it in there. Yeah, you guys are not... You guys are only a couple, you got it. So you're pretty way off. It's quite funny. It's India. It is. 16.2% of my followers are from India. The next one is the United States. 13% United States. And I'll tell you one thing about India, right? They have a lot of money. So a lot of people don't think India's got money. Trust me, they run Dubai. So there is a lot of money in India. They run Dubai. They are the second... Well, essentially, the Arabs run Dubai, and then Indians are second. But they're the second largest developer in Dubai. The Mac. I bought with an Indian company, you know, so a lot of money is... Yeah, it's a lot of money. South African is third, 5.7%. Iran, fucking hell. These people seen their currency go to shit, and now they're trying to trade the 2022. They're trying to trade the model. That's mad. Morocco is 3.7%. Oh, wow. Okay, and then towns and cities. We've got 0.8% in Lagos. Lagos? Lagos. How do you say it? Well, that place, Lagos, I swear that's a place in Africa, but isn't that also a place in Portugal as well? Or am I wrong? Lagos. Nigeria. These are some weird places, mate. Right, the age category, 25 to 34, 47.5%. You see, I don't make content on social media in order to get views. And the difference of what you'll see is that most people be hitting the 13 to 17 and the 18 to 24 range. But my audience is 25 to 34, and the rest of them are 35 to 44 years old. So I go for the older audience. Even 6% is 45 to fucking 60. So my content's not usually that fun to watch, to be honest. Especially on YouTube, you know. Some people watch the whole streams each day. And we don't try and make it exciting. You know, we just answer questions. I'm in Morocco right now for holiday. Do I have to cancel the monthly? Yeah, make sure it is cancelled so you can just check that and see if it is. But you wouldn't, essentially in the future, you wouldn't get rebuild at all or anything like that. And if you did, you could, it would just be obviously refunded, so. So Dr. Scene said, Milo, how many people talk shit to you for trading when you were starting out? Well, to be honest, not many people said anything. And my first trade that I actually took was profitable. So straight off the bat, I know it sounds, you know, crazy, but I started with crypto, and I bought Bitcoin at, I can't remember, what did I buy Bitcoin at? It was under 10k USD. I bought in 2020 in July. And it was just after my birthday. I must have got about... let's see. So, I don't know how old I was. I think I was still in sixth form at the time. I was in sixth form. Or no. I was in year 11. Yep, I was in year 11 school, right? I saved up after about 2 years of Christmas, birthdays, everything, right? So I saved up everything. I had £800, right? It was like $1,000 after like 2 years of saving. Because back then I didn't have a job. I think I did have I was doing jobs around the house, you know. I'd start painting the walls, cutting the grass, everything, you know. After 2 years I managed to get there. And then I seen on Bitcoin, and I got introduced to crypto through my dad. So he said, look, Bitcoin is something you should look into. So I was like, okay, you know. And you know, my dad, he was a construction, he did construction, so AC. And So I looked into Bitcoin. I didn't really do much research about it. I knew that I did enough research to know that I should buy it anyway. So I must have been like 15, 16. Put the £800 in Bitcoin. That was my first trade. And I held that trade all the way until the 2021. Bitcoin peaked. And I sold my whole portfolio. Bitcoin must have hit about 30,000 USD and I sold there. So I got around a 3x. So I was up about 2.5k pounds, 3k pounds, and obviously I bought in 2020, sold in 2021. You couldn't have lost money in that period. And not only did I buy, my mum also bought as well at the same time. She also bought £800 worth, so she made a little bit. I mean, it's relatively nothing, and then I made 2.5, and then also not only that, but my grandma bought, and then my uncle bought as well, and he bought Ethereum, and I said that he should buy, a few smaller coins. When I started to do more research, I said, yeah, you should definitely look at some smaller coins. So he bought Ethereum at $100. Now that's insane. So yeah, he bought back in 2020. He bought Ethereum at $100. He bought a lot of other coins which were extremely cheap. Yeah, to be honest, no one actually said anything when, if I was to speak about trading, etc., no one really said anything because all of my friends were on the same path at the time anyway. So I had one friend in sixth form in the school. He basically wanted to be set up a hedge fund. So he wanted to set up a hedge fund. He was extremely knowledgeable. He was getting A's in school already. He was getting like A plus. He was just very, very smart, and he didn't really do much. What do you call it? Learning, right? So yeah, he wanted to set up a hedge fund. So we was just always speaking about different things. But he was kind of weird. So I ended up fucking him off. And then it was mostly just me and Keswick. And yeah. So we only spoke about, and then eventually in 2021 we came across ICT, and it went from there, Sack them off, yeah. You got to sack them off, if they're not on the same path as you, they're holding you back, so that's what happens. What's your thoughts about XRP versus Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin's number one. It's the scarcity asset. It's the limited supply. It's the institutional interest. It's the ETFs driven by institutional interest, right? That's the big difference, what XRP doesn't have. I don't understand why people are falling out of their chairs for XRP, to be honest. And you shouldn't be buying Bitcoin now anyway. You either get the opportunity, right, that Bitcoin will trade towards 75k or 65k, and then we look for a long. But otherwise, I'm in a Bitcoin short still. So let's have a look. What did I tell you guys the other day as well? So we're currently trading around 90. Let's have a look. So on the daily time frame, we traded up to about 96.4. And this is something I mentioned the other day, wasn't it? To what? The weekly bearish gap. And we've traded into it. And what is paired in this weekly bearish gap? A weekly bearish breaker with a weekly unfilled bearish gap. So from this point here, we was trading around 85, 80k. I said that I want to see price, after trading out of the weekly bullish order block, trade back, rebalance price if it wants to then continue for the second leg back to potentially 60, and my TP's at 75. So my TP's at this area, obviously, 74.5. So, and then my break even is all the way up here. I'm at 118.5. So if price trades back to 118.5, then that's fine. I would be out at break even and price will make new all-time highs. I don't personally see that at all. So we shall see. What you shall see as well is that now we've accumulated for over a month, which is very standard, right? So about a month to 2 months now accumulation. It's now rebalance price. This is where it will start to pick up. So now you're going to start seeing that it will definitely go for, it will start to pick up, let's put it that way. Right, so the next London macro, okay. Yesterday you monitor the PM. No. So Trump was speaking. We didn't monitor the PM. Otherwise we would have, There wasn't any trades anyway. We're monitoring the PM today. Where can I find that technique? Yeah, don't worry about that. That's going to be in a specific channel coming shortly in the Discord. Explain everything. Yeah. Yeah, so by the looks of things, we are monitoring the PM. Yeah. And if I just put this in Canada, so Central Time Canada, should be -5, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So yeah, we're monitoring all sessions today. And then if we look at tomorrow, let's have a look. So the next day is going to be the 15th, which is a tradable day, and Friday is nothing. So every day and every macro this week is tradable unless Trump, decides to get a few out on the stage. He had to have a few words. So if he's got to do that, then it can affect whether we're going to monitor certain sessions, especially the way he's moving at the moment is catastrophic. He's moving like a terrorist. He's actually lost it, mate. So he's kidnapped a president. He's then, not only that has he kidnapped a president, but he's also said immediately he owns that country now. So any oil coming out of it, the US withholds. And then China and Russia, who's already paid for the oil, the US then stole it from China and Russia. And then they're saying to China and Russia, you can buy it from us. So that's the conflict at the moment. But I'll tell you one thing, you guys in the US, if this plan of getting the oil from Venezuela, which seems pretty set in stone, if that actually goes ahead, you guys are going to be in a good point. Really are. I mean, the gas prices in the US will drop to the lowest prices that you've ever seen. It'll probably drop to like 1950 prices. Okay. Grocery stores. Your groceries are going to go from $50 steaks probably down to about 15 or 20. Nah, probably nothing that crazy, but it'll drop to like by half. Right, been following you for a very long time. You... Wait, let me read that. You only trade New York session. When and why do you decide to trade London? Yeah, so, I mean, basically we did a lot of research. Just give me a second. We're just going to look at this here. So we're looking at an inverse order block. Let's have a look. So we had an inverse. Then it got... Okay. We have an order block here. Order block here. Respected. I'm just going to redo the bias, so give me a second, I'll come back to your question. But yeah, basically we did a lot of backtesting, you know. We already knew London and the PM and everything's profitable. But I'm just saying, is it worth my time? And it is worth my time. So here. Yeah, basically what happened, you know, we backtested for... Went from almost $3 a gallon to 160 something in Colorado. Yeah. Well, that's good, isn't it? And I'll tell you one thing as well. The people of the US, the majority of the people, they're just citizens, right? So they just work a job. And the only thing that they pay attention to as far as their president is mostly gas prices and cost of living. And if they see that coming down and they become wealthier, only slightly, they're going to be happy with that. And that's all Trump is really looking for, really, is to buy the people's, you know. Let's have a look at the 5. Yeah, basically, obviously, we've got a bullish bias. Now, if we look at price action, okay, we have a sweep of sell side and failed shift number 1. So we can look for a second shift above this short-term high, okay, which is fine. This high here is the IV, and that's it. So price either shifts above this high. If it fails, then that's it. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing as well. Because of what's happening with this oil stuff in Venezuela, the CPIs that come out for passing accounts, if you guys are curious, the CPIs are going to be huge. Because essentially what happens on why does CPI come out and it essentially runs 100 points? Why is that? It's because they have a prediction and it is different from their prediction. That's all it is. So the market has settled for this and it came out as this. Oh shit, we need to correct. Okay, the economy's stronger than we thought. I know it's weaker. That's all it is. And when loads of oil starts coming into the US and it gets sold to different countries, and inflation suddenly drops by like 1% within a month. PPI When you say PPI tomorrow, you mean PPI today, right? No, it does not run at all like CPI. No, absolutely not. It'll run anywhere from about 10 handles to about 60. So for passing accounts, the answer would be that it's not a good opportunity now. Which prop firms allow news? Well, if you just check the prop firms you're working with, then you can see it in their description. But the ones that I know of is Top Step and Alpha Futures, but only Alpha Futures on the advanced plan. So advanced plan, Alpha Futures, Top Step. Yeah. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do here, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask you guys, as the participating members, right, to put forward a suggestion channel that should be added to the Discord that you think needs to be added. Because I like to hear you guys' point of views, right? So we do, you know, like a vote. If I think it's a good idea, I think, you know, we add it. So what do you guys think? What would you like to see? Health and fitness. We actually do have a channel. Matter of fact, we got a superhuman guide at the bottom. It talks from everything about gym, foods, cancer, everything. Taxes. Yeah, we do have a taxes channel, but it's not actually got what you need inside of it as of now. It's still being developed. The women's section. I've not seen any good suggestions so far. I'm gonna put let's see. Let's go on notes on the phone. I'll put Discord upgrade. Okay, so 2-day pass. That's obviously getting added. 2-day pass, we know that. Okay, so that is a shift higher in structure on NQ and the S. Cool. Let's look at the 5. We've got a 5-minute swing. So I'm validation high, IV, top right is going to be this short-term high. Inverse order block. Well, we're currently expecting, well, we do have a bearish order block here and a shift in structure. Okay. And following with a bullish bias. So this is a valid long. If we get an entry off this gap, okay, bear in mind ES does not take the invalidation high. So the stop is going to be at the low, so 9 points, and ES takes the high, so no trade here. So we almost got a trade, but not quite. We took that 5-minute swing, so now it's been invalidated. Let's have a look. So well, someone asked, I know you didn't ask me what book, but someone said, what book are you reading? Now, a book that I recommend, well, the first book that I recommend would be the Bible, but the second book would be this one. So if you type in on fucking Amazon, or whatever you look at, right, the Master Key System, Now, I don't really read books. I'll tell you what, I never used to read a book. But that's very interesting. And yeah, it will make you more money, so. It's definitely something that you should look at, the Master Key System. So what we're going to be doing as well, we're going to be updating the PvP channel. Okay, so the leaderboard's going to be updated at the end of this week. So what I'm going to do is go in there and then let's have a look. So we had, let's have a look here, what's going on. Yeah, so basically, if you guys go on to the link inside of the PvP and update what you have. So I'll copy the link. Copy link. Okay, so right now on price we have a sweep of buy side, so minor buy side, 5-minute swing. Just swept buy stops of a short-term high. So leaderboard update, end of this week. Fill out the form to be on the leaderboard. Okay, leaderboard update, end of this week. Fill out the form to be on the leaderboard. Be truthful always and only state funded capital, not evals. If your name is not on the list, then just add it yourself at the bottom. Alright, calm. I have 250k funded. Milo, could you add it for me? Well, just click the link and then just type your name in. So put your name on the form and then put 250k funded, and that's it. So all you got to do is go onto the form. You either find your name or it's not there, and you just add it at the bottom. So just scroll to the bottom of the form, go to the last name, click the box, put your name in the box, put your funded capital, and then that's it. And if you wasn't on it from last time but you already filled it out, then we'll make sure that you're on it this time. Yeah, so we'll update the PVP on around like Saturday, Sunday time, really. Yeah. Just updated it, 1 million funding soon, over halfway there, 550k. And also, Dr. Scene, yeah, one thing you got to think is, if you look at yourself 3 months ago to where you was at 3 months ago and where you're at now, you've made some progress, right? You see that? Just taking little steps like that, and you're just adding and scaling. So that. Exactly. You know what I mean? Does anyone know the trade copier from Apex? Is it free? Well, I'm pretty sure you have to pay for... You're talking about Replicanto, right? Well, you have to pay for that. It's like $150 or $300 or whatever. And it's shit. Yeah, that's it, you can say it. And then just use Trade Syncer. That's all you need. You know. That's all it is. Yeah, absolutely, brother. Right, let's have a look at the 5. Alright, cool. So we inversed the 5-minute bearish gap. ES tapped the short-term high, so it's neutral. Okay. The 15 still bullish, and the hourly is now bearish, and the 4 hours bullish. So if we get our bias, we've got a neutral, bullish, bearish, and then bullish. So we've got a bullish bias. That's it. Yeah. So you'd also ask a question, why would this be the invalidation high? So the reason being is that there's 2 scenarios. We shifted above the first high, the second high is fine, the third high is the invalidation. But not only is it a third short-term high that price is trading above, okay, it's also a 5-minute swing. We have 2 neutral, 2 bullish. No, that does not equal neutral. No. So a neutral result is nothing, right? It's nothing. That's all it is. Yeah. Any tips to detach completely from the outcome? Well, to be honest, you just need to backtest more, because the reason why you might sit there and think about the outcome is because you haven't seen it enough. Now, I've taken thousands of trades now, so I feel like fucking Yoda, you know, or whatever you call it. And that's forward testing live trades, back testing trades. Yeah, and Mines has back tested a lot. You know, he's done. Mines is actually, matter of fact, I can't even tell him to back test because he's back tested the whole, I think, since the Nasdaq opened. You know, so I would say it will just come with time. That's all it is. Milo, some positions I risk 250, some positions I risk 360, some 300. Is that right or something wrong? It's going to fluctuate a little bit, yeah, that's fine. It does fluctuate, so yeah, some trades you're going to be risking about 350, it does happen. And then some trades you will risk about, you know, 250. But usually I'm always risking pretty close to about 280 or 320. It does balance out to about 300 on average. And then on the scaled accounts, sometimes I'm risking 580, sometimes I'm risking about 660, so yeah. Yeah, you just want to be as close as possible, really. That's all it is. Oh yeah, Mines, you've definitely backtested enough. We already know that. Yeah. Yeah, the only thing you got to focus on, Mines, is right now I see that you've put in a lot of work, but you're not going to make any fucking money. Now, I think you said that you've got one funded account, right? And you've got one eval. So what I would personally do is you need the money. You need money. You need to get money somehow, and it doesn't matter how you get it, but you need to get some money for evals. So if that causes you to cut some fucking grass or do a security shift, but yeah, don't do anything illegal, but just get the fucking money, you know. So I have 2 funded. Now I'm on the way to my first payout. Yeah, that's it. And also, Mines, you got to think as well, don't rush the process, because you got 2 funded. You're already actually on a pretty decent income. If you're coming from a point where you can't purchase more accounts, then that's it, because those 2 accounts that reach a payout, that's going to be a 2 to 4k payout that you're going to receive. That's really going to set you forward to getting another 5 or 6 accounts guaranteed funded in 2 days. And then after that, you're going to be on to 6 to 7k payout cycles, right? You're still at school, you don't have time. I mean, don't worry about school, to be honest. I wouldn't think about it too much, you know. If you get caught on your laptop, then fuck it. I mean, you're trying to make money and they're trying to teach you how to get a skill to make money. You either get the money now, or you go be, you know, like the average dickhead who goes and works a job. That's the way you got to look at school, right? What's the max amount of money that I can make from learning this skill? Oh, okay, right, so I could do this and I can make 100,000 a year. Or I could make like 70,000 a year, or I can do 150,000 a year. You won't see fucking more than that. You ain't making more than 200,000 a year. Alright, cool, you're the best brain surgeon in the world. Wow, you get to cut people's heads open. You know, and probably go fucking insane in your sleep because the brain person you did last week fucking died in surgery, and now you got to live with that. So yeah, you're making like 700,000 a year. I fucking make that, you know, very shortly in a month. I ain't cutting no heads open. So no, it's a load of shit. But don't get me wrong. Yeah, it is the end of the macro. But yeah, you don't need school education. Yeah, you really don't. It's just for people that are not that smart. That's all it is. They don't have an open mind, you know. So everyone's got different paths. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jax is going back to sleep, and then he's gonna rise from the dead for the New York session. That is a crazy sleep schedule you got going on there, brother. All right, cool. So that's the end of London. It was good speaking with you guys, and we're gonna be live obviously for the New York session, so it'll be 9:20 AM. I'll speak to you guys shortly. So that closure of the 5, now we're going to have to hunt for another one. So let's have a look around. Let's go shopping. Actually, the best way is by doing this. This is the easiest way to work things out. You go like that. Like that. Alright, cool. So we're not actually in a 5-minute bullish gap at all. So there's nothing there. That's already been inversed. And then after we inverse, we took the 5-minute low. Yeah, I was having a little shop, mate, but couldn't really find anything I liked. Gonna walk out empty cart. No bias. So what do you do with a neutral bias? You do fucking nothing, mate. So you just have to sit there and let price trade, and it will give you a bias naturally. So the bias will form. So essentially, to make things easier, and in a scenario where things escalate quite fast, the 5 and the 15 on a day like this, we know that's no point looking at that, and we know we're not trading inside of one right now, but I'm looking at what can we trade into. So what is the closest 5-minute gap that we can trade into? It's going to be this one, right? So I'll leave this marked just for future. Like that. So that's pretty much it. So you can just leave that for the future. So if price trades to that area, then we can already have it there. And then what else? 15. So we get an intraday bullish bias when price trades to around, 585. Let's look on the hourly as well. So obviously we got the hourly bullish around that area. I mean, we're not going to mark that out, so no point. Dropping off my girl at the airport. Netcom macros, but will be on the PM. Absolutely, brother. Wait, C4, did you take that top step payout yet? Because last time we spoke, I can't remember where you was at, but you was definitely already ready. I mean, now you're fucking 100%. Just make sure you withdraw to a Wise account. Can you get Wise in the US? Yeah. I have not, but I definitely can. After I heard about the 5 payouts to live, I'm scaling to 4.5. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're completely right. You might as well build the account and leverage it more. So risk 600 per trade, and then when you do take a payout, you can take, instead of taking 1.5, take 3 per account. So each payout from Top Step will hit at least 15. So you're going to take at least 70, 80k before you go to live. Yeah, a couple people said, obviously we got something coming out at 10 AM, so we'll see. Is there benefits of withdrawing to a Wise account? Well, the only benefit would be that all you got to do is type in your email, select USD, and then hit a withdraw. And the other benefit is that it only takes, about 12 hours. Usually it's in the next morning, so it's a lot faster. Is Revolut the same thing? Well, it's 2 separate banks, so you can't withdraw on... Well, you can withdraw to Revolut from TopStep, but you'd just basically be doing an international transfer. So you'd have to select the international transfer and then fill out a massive form. Your address and your bank and your routing number and all that shit. Like Wise is just put your email in and submit. Yeah, so the max payout is what I would recommend. So each payout you take 5 times 5, so 25. You hit 5 of them, that's 125k. And then you go live. Will I have issues withdrawing to my UK account? No. If you withdraw to a Wise UK account, boom, it will just deposit. It will deposit as USD, it will deposit as GBP, whatever you suggest on the payout. You can select what currency you want. Well, at least we know the 5 and 15 are bullish. And potentially the hourly. Yeah, so we got the hourly now as well, you can see. So we're starting to form a bias here. We're not forming, we've formed a bias, but it's getting stronger. We've got the 4-hour bullish gap there as well, which is actually unfilled. So I'm going to look at ES, which is this gap. It's not a gap on ES. So that's enough. Alright, cool. Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing. If we don't get a trade here and we're waiting for the next we're waiting for the next macro regardless, because even if we have a winning trade here or a losing trade, we always monitor all macros now. I will be going to the shop to get a few items. What payment method on Alpha Futures? You can just do bank transfer. When I used to have Apex under my name, I used to withdraw to Revolut. That's what I used to do. Apex on Revolut. Revolut's a good bank, you know. It's very good. You get different perks in there, you know. So obviously you can get the Revolut Metal Gold card, which basically means nothing. It's just a normal card, but you can get a metal plated gold one, which looks pretty sick. And then it comes with insurance as well, and also airport lounge access. For example, the other day when I had food poisoning, not the other day, well, how long ago was that now? Like 2 months? 2 months ago when I had food poisoning and I went to the hospital to get rid of that shit, because I threw up like 7-8 times. I was like, what the fuck's wrong with me? Then I whipped out the Revolut insurance, and that was like a 50-hour trade, just like that, because I paid what, £50 a month for Revolut, and then they just paid like $2,000 in the hospital because I was there for like 2-3 days. So that's another profitable trade, you see. We don't just trade the Nasdaq, you know. Okay, so the 5 got inversed, which is fine. the 15's fine, and also the hourly as well. So we do have a bullish bias. We've seen a shift in structure on both assets. So let me just remove this. And then we got an inverse. It's not an order block on ES, no. No, we don't have an order block, so there wouldn't be any trade here anyway. So a lot of people would fall for a model to say that, yeah, price shifted and swept sell side, and potentially they've built a bias off the hourly time frame, because no one does bias the same as what I have here. But there is underlying issues, obviously. Yeah, so nothing as of now. Melvin, buy question mark question mark. Melvin, are you deaf? I'm gonna ask you that one. I'm only joking, but I did just explain that. Hopefully you guys heard it. I'm speaking in the English dictionary language. Why no transaction? Didn't get my card out, mate. Just didn't get the card out. Wasn't feeling it. I'm joking. We don't go based off feelings. We have a model. And there was no bearish order block inverse, so no mitigation, no breaker block paired with the gap. It's not valid. Alright. So let's look at 15's fine. The only reason why I'm scanning the bias here is because if we do work off for price to shift above this high, this would be an inverse order block, and then we'd be interested in an opportunity for longs. So obviously that's pretty plain sight obvious, but that would be the invalidation high. Delete sell side. I mean, you know, a blind man could see that with swept sell side. It's pretty obvious. Why is it doing that? Don't be gay. I don't know why I keep thinking about that song that the granny got hit by the bazooka. Like, I keep thinking of it in my head. I keep playing it in my head. I can't stop it. Let's have some coconut water. So that's the first failed shift as of now in market structure. Coconut water's alright. It's not bad, mate. Okay, so preferably I want price to at least take the short-term low and just sweep some sort of sell stops. That would be the preference. But we're going very close to the end of the macro here. And if we shift above this short-term high, that would be fine. So it'd be 11, 12 close, 13 and 14. Essentially we have this candle or the next candle. So essentially this candle at 11 must displace and 12 close, and then 13 essentially gives an entry. Otherwise we just wait for the... Holy fucks. So yeah, I mean, we definitely displaced. Let's see. So just take a look at ES. That ES doesn't take the invalidation high. It's pretty crucial. But apart from that, otherwise we would take an entry off the gap. So let's start monitoring how big our stop placement's going to be. It's not valid. So this is now macro's over. That's pretty much it. Okay. You can mark this point as a point of sell side. Alright, simple stuff. I'm going to head to the shop anyway, because there was no trades. What is this? Let's have a look. Lewis said, let's go secure the winning day on Top Step. What, on a funded account? Some people just rush the process too much. They're fucking itching and spinning around in their chairs. And they just can't, they can't wait. They can't hold it in, and, you know, you're not following the model, and if what outside the model doesn't work out in your favour, he just loses the account, so it's like, what's the point? This is the problem, mate. You're not following, like, you know, if you worked for me, I'd sack you on the spot. That's very poor. You know, as David Goggins said, if you can't control your brain, you're fucked. I can control my brain. I'm going to go get on the bike and go to the store. I'll be back in a minute. So I'll speak to you guys around 10:35 AM EST. I'll speak to you shortly. Alright, yes guys, welcome back. Second day of macro. Did I sort the visa? I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I went there today, but by the time I got there, because I went after the London session, and by the time I got there, they said that it had already closed, so I'm going tomorrow morning. Let's take a look at our bias. Yeah, of course, Lewis. Of course. I know you've got pretty much the whole P&L on the account from trading normally, and there's always that point which you might be tempted to say, oh, I just need another winning day and I can take a payout. It was inevitable, it was coming anyway, but then essentially you could have just lost like $300-400 for no reason. And if what you was doing that didn't work out, you would have lost more potential payout, and potentially would have caused you to just lose the whole account. It's just pointless. So let's look at the 15 as well. Okay, so it was bullish, now it's bearish. Okay, so we got a brief bullish bias. Now the issue with this bias is that it will very quickly turn bearish in a second as soon as that 5 gets... Well, actually no, the 5 will turn it neutral because they're overlapping. And then it will just go to a neutral bias. So preferably what we want to see is price take minus sell side, and then that's what we'd like to see. Car LVERN, can't say his name. 5-minute bearish inverse the gap. Alright, 1 second then, because I know you're wrong. Does that look inverse to you? I'm on MNQ. That's incorrect as well. You got to be monitoring price on the full contract and execute on the micros. That's standard procedure. So everyone executes on the micros, including myself. I execute on both minis and micros. The thought process is always done on minis. Yeah. Oi, Sam Mooka, where you at, brother? You there? Probably setting up his mono. Let me text him, see what he's saying. Yeah, so Dennis, if you don't understand bias, what you need to do is watch the video on YouTube because it explains it really well. So it's on YouTube for free. And if you basically search ICT Fanatic 2025 mentorship, it's not even complete, the mentorship, but there's like 10 episodes. I believe it's like episode 3 or 4. It just goes through the bias, and it's only about a 10-minute video. You know, I'm not like ICT where we're chatting shit for a whole hour. So that will help you a lot to understand how bias is formed, you know. You'll also understand it from the streams over time as well. I'll send you a link. Let me see if I can get the link. So the 5 would be neutral now. Obviously the 15's bearish. Now it could potentially be bullish if we just have this imbalance over here. Alright, let's be more exact with this. Like that. Okay, I'll leave that there for now because we're going to need it. Okay, so the 15 is going to be bullish and the hourly's bullish and the 5's neutral, so it's a bullish bias. And we got a sweeper sell side, so we're looking for a shift. We've seen a failed shift in structure on NQ and on ES. So the likely scenario is that we seek sell stops. Good question, Nello. I've got both. I've got both, brother. So the 15 will be pretty interesting. That's the one thing you got to look at. In a minute and 30 seconds is that closure. Okay, so it's all about reading price action, you know. Failed shift in structure equals sell stops. So preferably you want to see a sweep of minus sell side, because even if the 15 gets inversed in 40 seconds, it will go bullish, and the hourly would be bullish, and the 5 will potentially go bullish as well. And potentially the 4 hour if we actually get to 520. Let's see. Yeah, so nothing as of now anyway. So the 15 just closed, so it's now bearish. Okay, so you can delete that, and then you can just put that like that. Simple stuff, simple stuff. Right, Carl Vern has asked a question. Now the 15's bullish, and now we just swept that point of sell side. Okay, so he said, stupid question, but how do you have NQ chart open and execute on the micros? So what I did, right, I ordered more screens. So I have an execution screen, as you guys know, and I monitor price on... Matter of fact, I monitor price on, I think it's a 28-inch monitor. So NQ and ES, I monitor on a 28-inch monitor. It's my preference. I fucking love this screen. Like, it's the perfect size. I don't have to look really far left or really far right to look at NQ and ES. That's one thing I found that doesn't work too well for me in a fast-paced scenario. I need it in front of me, because if it's a really wide screen, then if I have to look at NQ and then look at ES, like, it's too much. Yeah. I suspect the 5 would be bullish from this point, to be honest. So we can just make a double check here. Yeah, you're right. The 5 is certainly bullish. So you can see that sweep of sell side has formed a stronger bullish bias. We got intraday bullish, one higher time frame, and that might be the 4 hour if we're getting pretty close. Yep. So now we got a 100% bullish bias without the daily. That's perfect. So we have a sweep of sell side and a bullish bias, and then we just look for this order block. Turn that off. to get inversed. Like that. And shift above that short-term high. That would be ideal. Delete that. Delete that. I mean, I'm going to delete that as well. It's a bit messy. Delete that as well. That's our interest. That's our first draw. And our other interest. Simple stuff, you know. Easy work, easy work. I remember someone was previously in the group, right? And well, obviously he left. And the reason for leaving, I seen he left a note. So the reason why he left was because, so this was in December, right? And he said, frequency of trades is not enough to grow my account. I've made more in January than he's made in his fucking life. But he's a loser, right? Bro was gay. Bro was gay. Oh, yes. Well, the live account deposit hasn't landed yet. I didn't think it would. I mean, I literally sent a deposit because usually what happens, if I send it the day before, it arrives at 10 AM EST the day after, which is great. But I literally sent it at like 9 AM EST. I'm not really expecting 1 hour deposits. I mean, we're talking about Tradeovate here, you know. I think in USD it's around like, I should receive about 80k USD. Granny got hit by a bazooka. Mate, that song's still fucking in my head. I don't know why. I just went to the shop as well, got on the bike, ragged it, and it's still there. The song's fucked. The granny, mate. Well, I'll tell you what, I do need to go to Bangkok ASAP because I need to restock on cigars. I've been out for about 5-6 days now. A channel for Dr. Scene's prescriptions. Absolutely. Everyone will be dead in a week. We'll have like one viewer. We could most definitely and absolutely see a model here. This is a strong chance. because we've swept countless points of sell side since the open. We have a nice strong 80 or 90% bullish bias, a short-term high in a very close proximity on both assets, and an order block. And also an invalidation high that's quite far out. Okay. So if we do get a shift, we're looking at a 15 handle stop. Okay, so we got a shift. So an entry off the gap, we're looking at 15 points. Let's see. So 15 points is 10 micros. So first presented gap on ES, we're looking around 25. So 6. Okay, so we got first presented gap on ES. And then the other scenario is that we get order block entry on NQ, which would also be 6. So as soon as that candle closes on NQ, if we get an order block, no order block. It's about 35, which is 5. Alright, order block entry on NQ, let's see if we get that. Yep. Okay, so let's run our stop. So TP at this area. Alright, cool. Yeah, so basically, as of now, we'd mark this high for price as TS. And then this high. Okay, so trail stops. So trail stops to 48425. So we've essentially just reduced risk by 50%. Yeah, so hopefully this makes sense. Rob got a decent entry. You got a good entry there, Rob. See, the thing is with Rob, he's always robbing. Always. He's getting entries better, everything, you know. So as I tell you guys, the only thing that you essentially focus on when you're in a position is just managing risk. That's the only job that you actually have, is to manage risk. So when we take this short-term high for price, as you can see, 514, I'm going to be trailing to the order block low. Yeah, so now I'm trailing to 49525. So 49525. So we've got almost a break-even stop here. Okay. So you should be risking around 40 to almost break even and nothing. So $40 to break even. Okay. So 9525. Yeah. So the idea behind it is that price trades from the short-term high out of the bullish order block and continues. So now we've reduced risk by 90%. Okay. So this is where you would expect price to expand. And then one thing I want you guys to pay attention to as well is the high on ES, because from what I can see is that ES will draw to it first. So if that's the case, it would be a premature closeout on NQ. Bit of fucking coconut water, mate. Lovely stuff. Okay, so if we close for a bullish gap here in around 55 seconds, then we would go towards break even. Let's have a look at the entry on the second live account. 49850. Yeah, the same as the main. Okay, trading back into the bullish order block. So we either trade off this bullish order block to take out the next short-term high, which then would cause us to go break even, or we get around minus $40, which is relatively break even. Right, let me just go on Trade Synchro and make sure. Yeah. Okay, perfect. I got flattened on all of the positions. Lovely. So I got a result of minus $50. So you guys should have the same. Okay, so we manage our risk absolutely to a T. You should get around either... What did you guys get as a result on that? Let me just cancel the orders quick. Okay, so Tyler said he closed at a 1-to-1. What was the reason for you closing at a 1-to-1? Yeah, so about $40. That's perfect. So Tyler closed out because he doesn't know what he's doing. And then obviously the only reason why Rob's still in is because he got an extremely good entry. So he's likely gone to break even. But everyone should be out at 495.25. So that'll be that. So essentially now we would wait for the lunch macro and see if there's anything inside of lunch and also inside of the PM session, and then we'll work forward from there. So hopefully that made sense. So currently on the month, we are up around 5.9 R on the month of January. Okay, we're just under halfway through. Alright, perfect. Well, I'll speak to you guys for the lunch macro. So I'll unmute my mic around 11:35 and I'll speak to you guys in a sec. Yeah, of course. I always tell you guys roughly what the position size is going to be. You still have to work it out yourself, so it's always important that you have it and you say, okay, this is 35 points or this is 30, etc. And then you look at the risk management sheet, you have it either stuck to your wall, stuck to your head or desk, and then you take the position. And then when you're in the position, there isn't anything else for you to do apart from manage risk. So we looked at the first short-term high and trailed to the previous low, and then now algorithmic trade, price doesn't reprice back to short-term lows. And then as we took that short-term high, we trailed to the low of the bullish order block, as that's what we should work off. And we left it at the low of the order block until price took out this high, which it didn't, and it came back to the low of this order block, and that's basically it. Okay, so I'll speak to you guys at 11:35. Okay, welcome back for the lunch macro. Let's take a look. So let's delete what we have previously. Right. I can always see people's inexperience in the comment. But it's okay, you know, people are new, experienced, and let's say they didn't turn up for backtesting. Oh yes. So let's mark these areas. Where can I see my certificate on Top Step? It'll be on your dashboard. It'll be under certificates. Okay, so let's take a look at the bias. Okay, so we got a bullish bias, a sweep of sell stops at this short-term low, which as of now, if we shifted higher in structure, this would be the invalidation 5-minute swing high, and we'll be looking at a continuation model for longs following with a bullish bias. Okay. So basically a couple people said that potentially the position was trailed too aggressively or points along those lines. Now, the one thing that some people, because obviously they're newer, you know, they're not like experienced, is that I've repeated this process over probably about 5,000 times now. Even on backtesting only, backtesting I've taken now 1,500 trades plus, and I've been trading for 6 years, and I have trailed stops the same every single time. There is a protocol that I trail. We never make a random decision. It's always the same decision every single time. It's a probable scenario that more times than not it would result in a greater loss. But you'll see it in the up and coming weeks. If you had a query, you'll see in the up and coming weeks when we trail and it hits trailing. Oh no, he's actually put it in the chat. Rest in peace, my granny. Why do you lot call it hookah though? That's the question, because it's actually shisha. Like, hookah don't really make sense. The first time someone told me in the US, I thought they were saying hookah. It's shisha. You guys need to change that word. You guys already had to change in your dictionary from soccer to football. Now you got to change hookah to shisha. Simple stuff, simple stuff. And also scenario 2, which scenario 1 was that we trailed to order block low. That's standard. Very, very standard. Now, the other scenario is that when price put in this low and took this high with this bullish order block, price should have traded out of that towards the high. So your stop would be at this low, which would incur a slightly bigger loss, which would be $60 instead of 40. It's the same process every time. But we don't look at hindsight, we do the same process every time. But feel free, there is actually countless hours waiting for you to study if you haven't already. It was only briefly, about 2 weeks ago, that we did 150 hours of backtesting, and majority of it, well, let's say half of it, is actually recorded in the Backtesting ICT Fanatic channel. So if you're new and you're asking these questions, I suggest you don't ask the questions and you watch these videos first and then come back and ask the question. Because the content is there, it just takes a little bit of time. You can slap it on your TV. It's not public on YouTube, so you would never have seen it before actually. These are private videos inside of this group that are only accessible to you. And we backtested the whole of 2025, okay, and all of the results are there as well, and how much you can expect to make, etc. DH Dahara, you must be new. There's a couple new people. I look forward to when we go private. Well, I'll tell you one piece of advice, is that the way that you'll see me monitor price, okay, compared to what you're used to, is not going to be what you're used to, okay. We follow a very strict set of rules and we abide by it and improve it year by year, and it is refined so sharp that it would pierce a knife through a rock. Otherwise, you would have, what do you call it? Someone else that you would watch, some idiot, who doesn't know what he's doing, and takes about 5 trades a day, and then posts the winning trade on social media. I post everything. Fox 7, he's from the UK. Where in the UK are you from then, brother? And how do you like it over there? Oh wow, that was the fastest deposit that I've ever received in my life. Deposit's already hit. into the live account. I only deposit the money at 9 AM EST, and it hit the account in 2 hours. That was good. He's in Manchester and he says it's shit. Yep, I've not heard one person to say it's good. I agree with you on that one. Okay. Sweeper sell side. So now obviously it's not continuation. Look, when people say at the end of their sentence, I never understood this one. So obviously I learned this TS stuff recently. I always thought it meant, and people, when they write, they say, you know, TS. I thought it meant trail stops. And then we have this one called XD. What is this, like FIFA points or something? You're getting some extra FIFA points or something. Or Mario Kart points. Get a little XD boost. Off words. No, don't worry, brother. There's always a plan, you know. And everyone, you know, there's time. So we're discussing it at a later date. It's not anytime soon. See what we're trading out of. Obviously, we're either got a neutral 5. Let's have a look from the 4. So, you know, that's still the same. See what we're dealing with. Well, the hourly would go bullish there, wouldn't it? So hourly's been bearish. Hourly took the low, so it's a neutral hourly right now. About to go bullish. It's actually an unfilled. No. Hello, Mum. How's it going? No, I'm not on my bike. I'm at my trading setup. I was just looking at taking a payout on your Top Step account. Well, instead of doing the bank transfer, I was thinking if we use Wise instead. Yeah, it basically is just a faster transfer instead of just doing the ACH. Yeah, apologies guys, that was my mum. I'm taking a, well, I mean, I'm recording for YouTube, but you know what anyway. Just another one. Jack R. Thank God you're back. What a nightmare. I'm only sat here monitoring price. I just put myself on mute. No, it goes from really cold in this room to really hot. Let's turn the AC down a little bit. So, following a bullish bias, okay. Where's our bias gone? Oh, there it is. So the 5 would go to being bearish. What's going on in the chat there? I see some. I don't understand what's going on. Oh, I think I understand. What are you hungry fucks talking about in the chat? You need to get on Tinder, mate, and go in the club, mate. Taking my students. Alright, so the 4 hours bullish, hourly is neutral, 15's neutral, 5's bearish. So obviously we've got a failed shift higher in structure on NQ 2 times. So we failed to shift. Also, this is another probable scenario if you didn't already know this. Well, price went to shift above the short-term high and failed. Price went to shift above the short-term high the second time and failed, and traded into intraday imbalances. Now the likely scenario is that it then seeks sell stops, and from that point you wouldn't look for longs. So you don't wait for a third shift in structure. As of now, we're still in one complete shift, so this shift can still create a gap here and be paired with an inverse order block like we see here. Now, if you want to look at the bias, the 5's bearish and the 15's obviously neutral. The hourly is also neutral and the 4 hours bullish. So the bias is currently neutral, so we're waiting for a bias. Dr. Scene is inappropriate with the females. What did he say? Oh no. CEY. Yeah. I'm completely aware, brother. I think we're chilling, you know. Yeah, Joe Wobby, mate, you need to get your ass on Tinder, buddy. So that's just one failed shift in structure on NQ, you see? So sell stops is inevitable. Does that make sense? And when you look at the backtesting videos, okay, talk about women later, you know, but you got to restrain yourself because this is the business. And you watch these backtesting videos, which are for you guys in there, right? And you'll see the second failed shift, and then third, and then boom, it goes back and reseeks sell stops or buy stops. You guys are fucking funny, I'll tell you that. Every time, yeah, people would be inside of the group and they would sit there and think, you know, what are these lunatics even talking about? They don't even understand what they're part of. It's jokes. They don't know what they got themselves into. We go from very sophisticated questions to this. Just make sure when you're monitoring price, you just stay on top of bias, and that's pretty much it. And then obviously when we look at the PM session later as well, we're looking at the PM, of course. I can't even keep up with the chat. I mean, I just see a couple messages and it's gone. Guys, I'm the victim to bullying. You are a memorial for this Discord VIP community, I'd say, Joe Bobby. You are part of it. You know, everyone plays a role. You know, we even got a trained full-time doctor in this group as well, so we got everything, you know. So what did price do when it traded lower? Did it take sell stops? No. What's this? This is the third failed shift. In other words, this has a 70% chance that taking a long at this area, even though the bias isn't even correlated, that's another issue as well. Does that make sense? Retrace in the golden pocket. What, you got gold in your pockets or something, brother? Where did you buy it? Must have a Jew. He's buying all the gold. He's got it in his pockets. He's talking about fib levels. Oh, okay. We only look at 50% to go break even. That's pretty much it. What about the silver pocket? The silver one. Bit of copper. You guys are fucking full of energy today, I'll tell you that. You're going bonkers, mate. Okay, so potentially the 15's about to go bearish here as well. Not quite. Bit of coconut water. You got to make sure that you buy your coconut water in cardboard, not plastic. Now the issue with cardboard, right, is because there is also an illusion to think that you're drinking out of cardboard, but then inside of the cardboard it's actually layered with plastic, so you can't really get away from it, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, make sure inside of the chat, guys, we keep it not too off topic for too long, you know, because it drives not only me but other people a bit insane. Yeah, professional, yeah. Because we have some great questions and then we have some great chats, but sometimes they go on a bit much. Well, Joe, yesterday we spoke about that, because the only reason I spoke about it is because someone asked a question about PPI, and if you heard the answer, it was obviously not. And I've clearly stated that NFP and CPI are the only two news events that you can use for brackets. Okay. So what's the idea behind the third failed shift? Why does it make it so probable to seek sell stops? So when you see a shift in structure and price hasn't seen or seek the energy to shift, then it usually seeks sell stops, right? We've traded higher and then failed to shift. Now we closed above the high, which is a shift in structure, but didn't hold above the high to create a gap, which is a second failed shift. And with the third, we created the short-term high, and then price went to trade towards sell stops, did not take sell stops, and traded back towards the third high. So now we have 3 sweeps of buy stops. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah, Kevin, your jokes, mate. What, do you have an issue with coconut water, do you? I've been just fine with coconut water. I find it hydrates me very well. It keeps me very neutralized in the mind, where I'm not erratic. I don't like to be erratic, hence why I don't drink energy drinks anymore. So I have a stable mind, and it hydrates very well, you know, and it also tastes pretty good, so yeah. But yeah, as you guys know, yeah, chocolate milk is the go-to. We definitely do consume our fair bit of chocolate milk. Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of the lunch macro. There was no trades here, so the only trade that we've taken today was this one. Our risk was managed absolutely to a T, which we only ended up risking $40 on each one of our accounts. So currently this week we're sitting up 3.9R on the week. Okay, we're currently up 6R on the month. So we're going to wait for the PM session now. And basically, as we wait for the PM session, I will re-go live as we go for the PM. Okay, so I'll go live in an hour and 15 minutes. So about an hour, literally about an hour and 7 minutes time at 1:20 PM. I'll go live for the PM session. Okay, so it was good to speak to you guys. We'll be back for the PM in an hour and 15 minutes. Started the screen recording again. Hello YouTube. We ran out of storage slightly. Yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. Price either algorithmically respects these bullish imbalances paired with this mitigation block as well. And we either get a break-even result or not. That's basically it. You don't think 100 points for TP is big? No, not at all, no. Because I'm using the relative equal highs to my advantage, because I knew price was drawing to relative equal highs, and I'm using it as a point of break even. So I'm either getting a 2R or I'm getting a break even PM. That's pretty much it. That's all it is. So hopefully that makes sense. And what we're going to do, when price takes this short-term high, I'm looking for price to accelerate. Now we're going to be using that short-term high, as you can see, and then be trailing to the previous short-term lows. So we'll trail slightly more aggressively, but we shouldn't see price return back to this low. We should see it start to accelerate above the relative equal highs. So hopefully that makes sense. So above the high, essentially, let me get an exact figure. It would be 48675. Okay, because an acceleration above where I've got labeled TS would be another mitigation paired with a gap, and that would accelerate price towards our area of TP. Okay, Dr. Scene. How are you doing, my brother? Not quite. So if we take TS, then we go to 487. Otherwise, we'll leave it at break even. Okay, so move your stops now to 487. So we are expecting an acceleration in price, and we've moved our stops into just a slight profit. Why acceleration, Milo? Can you explain? Yep, so we was just trading out of a bearish order block, and now we've closed above it. So that's a disrespect of a strong bearish PDRA. And now price is likely now going to accelerate and buyers are going to step up. So hopefully that answers your question. Hence why we've trailed to the short-term low. Okay. So regardless, your accounts are closing green today, and you're either getting a 2R or you're just going to close slightly green on the day. Okay. So now we want to look at ES. Okay, and this high on ES is where we can start to aggressively trail, because this would be over 75% and even 80% of our trade. Okay, so as of now we'll just leave our stops resting at 8700. That'll be it. So hopefully this makes sense. So you can see here, if we disrespect this gap, which is paired with the mitigation, price is likely and potentially going to seek the low. I'll happily be taken out of the trade there because we're disrespecting two bullish PDRAs. Okay, so in this scenario, I'm going to trail just slightly to 488 48875, just the low of the order block. So we're not moving much, but just the 48875, okay. Lovely risk management, of course. I mean, on the last trade, the same procedure every single time. If price, as of now, wants to seek some more, liquidity and acceleration, the likely scenario is that it will take the short-term low like this, and then it will seek higher prices from there. Hence why we're not trailed that aggressively to these lows. I'm at the low of the order block, and I wouldn't expect price to seek this low. Hence I'd be happily taken out at that point. Because you have to bear in mind we've swept the relative equal highs, so we've accumulated, manipulated and distributed to the objective. Hence why I'm being more aggressive with trading stops. Okay. Okay, so we can use this short-term high as another point to trail stops, but it's only going to be towards 495. That's if price trades above this short-term high. Not this one, I'm not interested. This one. Jack said he hit the wrong key and he got a premature exit. I don't know how that's possible to hit the wrong key, but okay. So we've just slightly taken out that short-term low, which would be sell stops. Now if price trades lower towards this area for price, then we'd no longer want to be in with price. Simple as that. Alright, that's it. So that's the PM session done. That has concluded the day. So all of your accounts should be green, but you're not going to be in a profit. I'm just saying that you're not going to be in a loss either. So that's the PM session concluded, and our risk was managed absolutely to a T. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. That was the trade for the PM session, and then the trade which we took earlier as well. So we had one trade which was around minus 0.1 R, so it was like minus $50 on a 50k account, and then this one was around plus $80, so plus 0.2 R. So relatively two break-even trades which kind of counteract each other, and your account is relatively up probably $30, $40, $50 on the day. So that's basically it. Okay. So hopefully the thought process, everything made sense. And obviously we're going to be live for London in the morning. Matter of fact, I need to wake up slightly earlier tomorrow because I need to head and get the visa sorted before London, and then we're going to get into the London session. Okay, time to go club. No, I don't go to the club. Alright, well, it was good speaking with you guys. I'll speak to you tomorrow for London. Have a good rest of your evening. Take it easy, brothers.